Welcome to Midnights with the Lizard Wizard, a podcast where Yael Midnight and I, Noel Midnight, listen through the entire King Gizzard discography from start to finish. This week, we're listening to and watching King Gizzard's tour documentary / concert film / live album, Chunky Shrapnel, as well as their first collection of demos, which includes Demos Volume 1, Music to Kill Bad People To, and Demos Volume 2, Music to Eat Bananas To. Theme music recorded by Beautiful Trainwreck. And we're back. Yael, we have finally gotten through Chunky Shrapnel and Demos Volume 1 and Volume 2.
I'm sorry, I think you mean Demos Volume 1, Music to Kill Bad People To, and Demos Volume 2, Music to Eat Bananas To.
Of course that's what I meant. I just didn't get there yet. I was going to break it down into the subsections later, of course.
No, it's important to know what this show is going to be.
That's true. We have to be really specific, really dialed in. We could be talking about a different bootleg Gizzard record called Demos Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Yeah, and I think it's important to let our audience know that if you need to pause and go get a banana...
Did someone say pause? Sorry, I just did like a dog pawing motion.
How do you think that was going to work over the radio?
It just doesn't translate.
It doesn't.
Sorry, I didn't get enough sleep last night and I was awoken very abruptly. And I'm a little delirious before we even started. So that's where I'm at.
So this is your chance to pause the show.
I just did it again.
This is your chance to pause the show, get a banana, go find some evil person to kill, and then come right back and listen. Exactly,
because as we've already determined without even talking about it together, the only way to listen to music to kill bad people to?
Music to kill bad people to.
The only way to listen to that one is to actually kill a bad person while you're listening to it. If you aren't doing that, if you aren't doing that, you aren't fulfilling the vision laid in place by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So go kill a Nazi.
And of course, eat a banana.
And eat a banana. They're comparable tasks.
You need more potassium.
Yeah. And less Nazis.
But yeah, well, let's start out with Chunky Shrapnel.
Sure, let's start out with some Chunky Shrapnel. How do you want to approach Chunky Shrapnel?
Because
I've got it broken up into two sections here.
Everything and then a brief history of planet Earth?
No, but God. I do have so much. And okay, the way I was taking notes, I was breaking stuff up by scene. And so there's a paragraph break for each scene that we saw. And so a brief history of planet Earth for me is just this giant long wall of text paragraph that should be like 3 or 4 paragraphs I didn't break up just because it was all one scene. And I'm really regretting that now while I try to scan my notes.
Yeah, I made this mistake with Bootleg Holiday from Hell where I essentially just had one giant block of text in my notes for the entire movie. And so this time around, I organized my notes based on the songs on the album version of Chunky Shrapnel. And even when they weren't playing one of the songs that's specifically on that album, I still attached my notes to the song-by-song breakdown.
Ooh, I'm Yael. I did something poorly the first time, and I changed it and did it better the second time, and it worked better for me, and I'm a happier person for it.
I told you, hey, I'm going to do it that way. I've done it that way. And you still hadn't taken any notes for Chunky Shrapnel, and you're like, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to make it one giant block of text that's impossible to read.
I tried to watch Chunky Shrapnel 4 times. The first time we got through it. The second time we got like 10 minutes into it and was interrupted by something. The third time we got, half an hour in, and then we were interrupted by something. And then this 4th time, I finally took notes.
Yeah, this is going to be a great episode.
This is going to be one of our bangers. I mean, you can tell it's going to be a banger because we don't have Josh or Emma or Liz or Sable, and all of our best episodes are clearly just the two of us.
You can tell it's going to be a great episode because we are already just so entertaining.
Oh, God, aren't we? Okay, so the way I have Chunky Shrapnel broken up in my notes is I have a section for the original songs from the Chunky Shrapnel soundtrack. So like Evil Star, Quarantine, Parking, and Amnesis. And then I've got notes about...
Parking isn't an original song.
What is Parking?
Parking is a drum solo.
Yeah.
From Self-Immolate.
Oh, that's the drum solo from Self-Immolate?
It's a drum solo from one of the performances of Self-Immolate, yeah.
Okay.
It's literally just one of the drum solos from one of the shows.
But it's listed as its own track with its own name.
It is, but it's not a composition in the same way that Quarantine or Anamnesis...
Or Quarantine or Anamnesis.
Yeah, for some reason I wanted to say something else, and there wasn't anything else to say.
Because you expected Evil Star to be in the conversation, but Evil Star also really isn't an original composition.
It's closer to one than Parking is.
Okay, well, I don't know that I'm actually going to take that, but okay, I'll take that. Isn't Evil Star just like a section of, is it Hell played backwards and slowed down?
It is, yeah, and you can tell.
You can tell.
I can tell, yeah.
I can't.
Well,
I would never know what it was if I hadn't been told.
We've heard Evil Star a bunch of times on live records before.
Yeah, all the live bootlegs that came out in 2019.
But it always had a lot of crowd noise because they were walking onto the stage for Evil Star. The only time I've ever actually been able to like hear Evil Star really is on the album version of Chunky Shrapnel.
Right. I do appreciate having that version of it.
Even on the movie version, it's not quite as clear. But on the album version, it's clear enough. And I could finally hear that it was reversed sections from Hell. It is kind of neat and atmospheric, but that doesn't really mean that I want to listen to it.
And it's 3 sections, I've noticed. I always thought it was 2 because of the way we hear it live, but it's definitely 3 full sections, and it goes on a lot longer than I thought it did.
Yeah, I think that if it weren't at the start of an album, it would be a complete dud, but it works as an intro, I guess. It's really nothing more than an intro, but it works for that.
Yeah,
I really do like the way that it suddenly gets really quiet.
Yeah.
But it goes on way longer after it gets quiet than I want it to.
I expect it to go suddenly quiet and then have the band come in. Instead, It goes suddenly quiet and then it goes, actually, there's another section. Haha.
Before we actually dive in, though, your question a while ago, before a bunch of really low quality banter, was how should we approach Chunky Shrapnel? And I think we should take a moment and actually say, what is Chunky Shrapnel?
Sure. Chunky Shrapnel is a tour film, I guess. It's kind of faux documentary-ish with
behind the scenes
footage that's ultimately unsatisfying and doesn't say much.
It is simultaneously trying to be documentary and concert film, and it doesn't really quite hit the notes of either.
Yeah, I've heard people compare it to Stop Making Sense, and I think that the reason people do that is because they've only ever seen Stop Making Sense.
I think that it almost works as a concert film and doesn't work as a documentary.
Hard agree. Yeah. I think it would work better as a concert film.
Yeah. Yeah.
If, for example, when they open the movie with fucking is it Self-Immolate?
Yeah, I mean,
with Self-Immolate, they play it for like a minute and a half, and then you get the like theremin synth thing coming in and drowning it out, and you're like, okay, but I was all ramped up for Self-Immolate. I wanted to watch Self-Immolate.
It doesn't bother me that it's jumping between a bunch of different shows and not always playing the full versions of things. Like, it would have been nice to hear more of Self-Immolate. I really liked the clip of Sense, and I would have loved to hear more of it. We get a little bit of like the sound check for the wheel, and it's only a couple of bars. And
I didn't notice the wheel.
Yeah, they're in a big empty room and they're sound checking and they're singing the wheel, and it's just a couple of bars.
I was paying so much attention this time.
They were even singing it, like the wheel that steers us into the future.
How did I miss that?
Because you're dumb.
I was taking so many notes. I was being so diligent. I was a good girl.
I mean, it was only a couple of bars.
I tried so hard to catch everything this time.
and I liked all these little clips. It doesn't really bother me a ton that we only get little clips of them. I think that the reason it doesn't fully work as a concert film isn't that it keeps jumping around like that. I think that it doesn't always work as a concert film because the energy keeps shifting. Like when you watch Stop Making Sense, it's energy the entire way through. One of the things that makes that movie so good as a concert film is that there's no talking heads, there's no cutting away. It's just...
Excuse me? It's all talking heads.
That was completely unintentional. It's no like talking head interviews. It's no like when they pull away from the show to talk about the show and the band,
yeah.
You know. But no, you're right. The band is literally talking. I can't believe I did that accidentally.
Yeah, that's great. I love this show. I love podcasting with you, babe. It's so much fun. It brings me actual literal joy.
I don't think anybody's going to enjoy this episode.
That's on them, really. If you can't enjoy this episode, there's something wrong with you, not us, okay?
We have never made a bad podcast ever.
That's not true. We absolutely have. It was called episode 001, Anglesey.
That was episode 0.
Fuck!
Episode 1 was Willoughby's Beach.
It was episode 000, Anglesey Plus.
It was, you're right. We did do a couple of extra tracks.
I would say that was probably the worst we've ever been at podcasting, which is great because it's the first thing anybody hears from us.
There's a reason that we took a while to get off the ground.
Yeah, we should really just put a note on that and say, be like the wheel and steer into the future.
And we should put a note on the Anglesey episode that's just like Stu's note on Teenage Gizzard itself, which is,
that would be really funny.
Hey, don't listen to this. This doesn't really count. I don't know why you would ever want to listen to this.
Yeah, we should do that.
Literally the note that Stu has for Teenage Gizzard.
I think I can go update the episode without it breaking the whole RSS feed, but I'm not positive.
But
positive?
Yeah, so I
Sorry,
think,
I'm very dog brained today.
I think that the reason that it doesn't really work as a concert film is that the energy ramps up during a lot of the songs and then just kind of cuts for a while.
Yeah.
And so you don't really get to ever be so fully engrossed in it. And I think until A Brief History of Planet Earth towards the end, where
at which point it really fucking works as a concert film.
Yeah, and
because it's giving us a fucking concert film.
Right, and there are moments in it that are really good. But you do have to keep sort of going through the documentary sections where there is no energy.
And there's no like talking. There's no like, there's a couple sections with talking, but it's so buried behind like music that's playing that it's almost incomprehensible.
Oh yeah, you can't really hear anything.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of cool archival footage to see. Like for you and me doing this, it's kind of nice to see some of the background stuff.
It's kind of the same way I feel about Ratty.
But but honestly, I think that we understand more of what it's like to be doing King Gizzard stuff from Ratty or A Brief History of Planet Earth or the various other, like the making of Flying Microtonal Banana, sorts of videos.
A Brief History of Planet Earth when you meant to say Bootleg Holiday from Hell?
No.
Okay.
A Brief History of Planet Earth was also the name of the behind-the-scenes Motu.
That's right,
video,
it was, wasn't it?
Because A Brief History of Planet Earth was the original title that was meant for Murder of the Universe.
That's right. I don't remember my lore very well, guys.
That's why you have me. So if like I think that those videos give me a better sense of like the documentarian aspect of what they're trying to do here, because we see them making the songs and we hear them sometimes talking at least a little bit about it, and we don't get a ton. And honestly, a lot of those videos don't really show a ton of interesting stuff, but like I'm not upset that we have it.
Sure, yeah.
But the problem with Chunky Shrapnel is that I watch the movie and I want to be entertained and I enjoy it, but I can't keep the energy up. I think it would have to be better in a theater. I wish I could go back and see it in a movie theater.
Yeah, I think there are two ways to watch this movie properly. The first way is in a movie theater, yes, obviously. And then the second way is while you're hanging out with your friends on Discord, just kind of casually chatting and not paying that much attention.
Yeah. While you're getting a little stoned and you're enjoying the music.
That's what I did wrong. I stayed sober so I could record the podcast, and I didn't watch the movie stoned this time. That's what I did wrong. That's on me.
and like, it's great to have on. And I think the album version of it is worth talking about it too.
The album's definitely worth having. It's great. It's a valuable addition to the like live from this era collection.
Yeah, because these are really good recordings. They're not all the same quality tracks, and that's something I want to talk about at some point. But they're generally very well done, and they sound good. I like listening to these versions of the songs. There's a great version of Road Train. There's a really great version of Let Me Mend the Past. There's a really well mixed version of the Horology Suite.
Sure. And that's not something we've gotten well mixed very much.
Right. And so having...
Like, their KEXP session for that was the worst mixed KEXP I've heard.
Yeah. So having some of these tracks on an album format is great. Even though I like the album version, even as just an album and not a movie, it does suffer a little bit. Because while Quarantine and Anamnesis are, I think, cool compositions for the documentary scenes in the movie, they still break the flow of the energy when listening to the album.
I would have sequenced those as bonus tracks or a bonus EP.
Yeah, because going from Let Me Mend the Past, which is just, it's such a cool version of that song.
It's a huge version of that song.
Into Anamnesis, which is nice and lovely.
It's light and airy and like...
It's cool.
It still feels like background music, though.
Right. And then we dive right into the Horology Suite, and it's a dip in energy. And it's noticeable that I'm not paying as much attention during Anamnesis, even though I'm trying to listen to this album.
Yeah. Because
we're going from high point to high point, but we have to go through this valley in between, and it's just not as fun. So they'd be great bonus tracks. I'm not upset to have a clean studio recording of Anamnesis and Quarantine.
No, I'm really glad we have those, actually. I think they're really good curiosities that paint a picture of what Stu is doing kind of in his free time.
Yeah, and I hope that we'll get some stuff like this on some of the later records, especially some of the more electronic stuff or synth stuff that they're doing, because there's some cool stuff happening in there.
Yeah, there's cool ideas, but they aren't fleshed out songs. If anything, they feel more like, dare I say it, demos.
They're interludes, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I don't dislike them, but they kill the energy. And when I'm watching a movie, when I'm watching a concert film, I want that energy to keep up. If anything, I want it to ramp up.
Yeah.
And it's just not what happens. I do love parking. Parking is awesome.
Sure.
I love that drum solo.
I love that clip of the movie. I love seeing a bus park.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got 3 true highlights from Chunky Shrapnel, 3 moments in that movie that make me very, very happy.
Yes.
One is Let Me Mend the Past.
Good God.
Because Ambi is living his best rock star life.
I would say even before Let Me Mend the Past, that little clip from The Bitter Boogie where he's just standing on the crowd screaming boogie at them while they scream it back at him.
Yeah, no, Ambi being a rock star is one of my favorite things, and we got a decent chunk of it in Chunky Shrapnel.
Yeah.
And that man is living his best life, and I am so happy for him, and I love it.
Damn it, I forgot to open the episode with my joke.
Go ahead, do it now.
Chunky Shrapnel, more like Chunky Crapnel. This movie blew.
It blew chunks?
That's what I was going for, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I told you weren't going to laugh.
Noelle said to me earlier, I've got a great joke I've got a really bad joke to open the episode, and you're going to hate it. And you're right, I did.
It's called comedy, folks.
Oh, and we're so good at comedy here at Midnights with the Lizard Wizard.
We know we're good at comedy because we went to an improv workshop this weekend and it wasn't graded, but we did get good grades.
We were good.
Yeah,
we were funny.
Yeah, we were funnier than we normally are on this show.
If you want to see Noel and Yael actually be funny, come to a small private improv workshop in Seattle, Washington. Don't actually listen to anything we do publicly.
For real though, if you're in Seattle and you want a like improv workshop that you can just kind of drop into on a monthly basis for like queer and women and like, you know, people who aren't straight
people who
cis
aren't
dudes,
cis men, cis het men.
like there's a really cool improv practice group that we go to every so often that, yeah, you could probably come to if you want to. And if you really want to, find us on Blue Sky or Instagram and DM us, and we will give you details.
Yeah. I'm happy to show for them.
Yeah, it's a great little fun group, open to all skill levels.
Yeah. So Let Me Mend the Past or that bit of Bitter Boogie when Ambi just gets to have fun being
good.
The best rock star out there in 1957. Like, that's an awesome moment. And that's a moment that, as much as on the album version of Chunky Shrapnel, Let Me Mend the Past is good, you really do want to see it with the video. You want to see Ambi going off the stage and up to the crowd, over the barrier, and just like living out his wildest fantasies.
And importantly, you want it to be handheld camcorder footage.
Yeah, and the way that he moves is kind of awkward and endearing.
Yeah.
It's great. Another favorite part, A Brief History of Planet Earth.
I mean,
it's a 19-minute jam at the end of the movie that's just killer. It goes through 3 or 4 different performances of a couple of different songs. It's mostly put together from a performance in Madrid of Head on Pill. But it has elements from a couple of other songs performed at a couple of other venues that just turns into one really well edited, like seamlessly put together 19-minute jam.
And I wanted to talk about that for just a second, is the way it was edited, because it feels like you had the individual stems for each soundboard and you just like overlap one performance with the next performance, or it's like, okay, I'll take the guitars from this first performance and overlay the guitars and drums while the flute from this next performance comes in, and all of a sudden it's seamless because you've transitioned between the two, overlapping the parts.
And
it's just this
so
really
cool that you can
editing.
do that with very different songs like Head on Pill and The River, but because these are just the long jammy sessions that they have at the end of these shows, like it works really, really well, and it's done seamlessly, and whoever edited that together did such a good job.
Yeah, when they went from Rattlesnake into I don't remember what it was they went into, but they went into a section where Stu was on the flute.
Yeah.
It was a seamless
so good.
cut in the audio. You couldn't hear it in the audio at all, but there was a cut in the video, and I had to rewind to make sure I caught that cut because it sounds so seamless, but then all of a sudden there's a cut and Stu's not playing the banana anymore. He's playing the flute.
Yeah, and we're in a completely different crowd in a different venue.
Which I didn't notice the difference between the crowds and venues because I'm so obsessed with just watching the band.
Yeah, so fair. So like that last 19 minutes of the movie, it's really epic. Like if there's anything in this movie that just hits, it's that.
Yeah, there's a reason that every single Letterboxd review is going, oh yeah, A Brief History was the best part.
Oh yeah, and part of that is that in this Madrid show, which makes up most of this track, the band just gives up playing their instruments.
Yeah, I think they forgot that they were supposed to be in the band and just like started being like fans of what was going on.
So at this show, members of the band Stonefield, which consists of Cavs's wife, Amy, and her 3 sisters, the Findley sisters, and members of the band Orb all come on stage and like take the instruments of the King Gizzard members and jam.
Yeah.
And during this stage,
But
The
they
members
jam,
of-
very importantly, still sounding like King Gizzard because it's all the King Gizzard instruments and patches. And so, like, it feels like Giz, but it's
it's not.
distinctly not Giz. And
Right.
it's almost uncanny valley for moments.
And so one by one, all of the members of Giz are being replaced. And what do they do when they're replaced? They go and jump into the crowd and do a bunch of crowd surfing, or they take swigs from bottles of liquor. I think Ambi drinks some gin and Stu grabs a bottle that I think might be rum. I don't know exactly what it is. Doesn't matter.
I want to talk about Stu's drinking problem at some point.
Yeah.
There is one point in the performance of A Brief History of Planet Earth where you look down at the floor next to Stu's mic and you see no less than 4 different drinking vessels at his feet. He's giving former guest of the show, Liz Mulholland, a run for her money on the amount of drinks that you can have at once.
Not necessarily all booze.
Not necessarily all booze.
Just like containers of liquid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it's fun to watch the it's fun to watch the members of Orb and Stonefield. Like at one point, I think it's Zach Olson from Orb grabs Ambi's beer from Ambi while he's busy playing the harmonica and so cannot drink beer, and just takes a swig from Ambi's bottle.
Which is exactly what you're supposed to do in that situation.
Yeah, and so everybody's having a good time, and the band all like jumps into the audience and crowd surfs, and by the end of the movie, Stu is naked and down to his
briefs,
boxers.
yeah, boxer briefs.
And it's just like the energy of this performance is so high.
I thought that the whole thing was a really great metaphor for death. Just with every member being replaced one by one and then jumping off into the crowd into like the nothingness and disappearing.
But props to Ambi, who stays playing his own harmonica the entire goddamn time.
Yeah, Ambi couldn't be bothered to give up. Ambi's just standing
Everybody
there
else.
going, nope, I'm not ceding control.
All 6 of the other members of the band give up, but Ambi, you know,
I mean,
what?
towards the
He
end,
stays.
it is Ambi and Joey on the microphone behind Ambi's station, just screaming into that microphone together. Like, that's really fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool. It's just a very fun moment, and it's a good jam. It doesn't play quite as well listening just as an album, as it does in the movie.
That makes sense.
Like, it's still a fun jam on the album. I still enjoy it. I'm not going to skip it.
No.
But you want to watch it because the energy comes from the fact that the band is going all out and jumping into the audience.
It's self-indulgent. And in order to capture the self-indulgence, you need to be able to see them reveling in it.
Right. If you're listening to it, if you've never seen the movie, but you've listened to the album a bunch of times, you don't notice when one band member leaves and is replaced by a different band.
Right.
Because it still has that Giz tone and the jam evolves, but like it's still a jam. So you don't know that King Giz couldn't be playing those notes.
Right.
So you really need to see it.
There are a couple lead lines where you go, wait a second, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But like beyond that, like you're not going to notice it in the drumming because they're clearly trying to emulate what Cavs had already established for the song.
They're jamming on Head on Pill.
Right. And so, yeah, you don't get it nearly as much if you're just listening.
And
I think that's good because this is very much a live song.
Right.
And it's meant to be experienced in the live format. And the live format includes a visual.
Yeah, and my third moment of the album that I think rounds out my top 3.
Oh yeah, we're still doing the top 3.
That's right. Is Parking, because specifically of the way it's edited together in the movie.
Sure.
Seeing Cavs doing the solo on the kit at the same time that you see the driver of the tour bus with the trailer behind him doing the complicated parking task and then giving like wave to the camera right as Cavs finishes the solo.
Yeah.
Like it's just well edited together. And all 3 of those best moments, they do need the movie. They need to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know it's hard to find the video now. It's no longer easy to access.
Right. Unless you're willing to sail the seven seas, like there's challenges in getting a hold of this.
It used to be available online, and the rights holders have pulled it. I'm convinced that that's not King Gizzard, because King Gizzard loves giving away their stuff.
Yeah, unless there's something in this movie where Giz has gone, oh no, we can't be seen doing that, which there's nothing.
I don't think there's anything in there.
I was watching this movie trying to cancel Stu, and I never got anywhere.
Yeah, I have nothing to cancel him for. I'm sure that we'll be able to come up with a joke at some point.
But like right now, I don't really have anything.
Right.
And so I can't imagine why they wouldn't want this movie to be seen.
No, I'm sure
Especially since they're still selling the album.
Right. I'm sure that what's going on is that because of something about the way that movies work and the way that it was distributed initially, because it was shown in theaters originally, that they just don't have the rights to it.
Yeah.
And
so, I want to know who PHC is.
Right.
Because PHC has their big production logo at the beginning. I know nothing about who that is or what their relationship with Flightless is or what their relationship with the band is. But
they're presumably the ones that have the rights to the film.
If I had to guess.
And for whatever reason, it's hard to find this through legitimate means anymore, unless you happen to know somebody who initially got the copy when they first came out.
Yep.
Or you pirate it.
God, I would kill for a Blu-ray copy of this.
Oh, yeah. Like, even though it's not my favorite, I still want it for the collection.
Yeah, I don't own a Blu-ray player, but I have everything else King Giz has ever released, so I might as fucking well, right?
Hey, we don't have everything yet.
No, we're missing a few demos records. We're missing KG somehow.
And
why can't we find fucking KG in a record store? What's wrong?
And we're missing a couple of the early albums as well.
Are they not printing KG anymore? Is it just out of print and that's why we can't find it?
Look, or mathematically, it's hardest to find the last few gotchas.
Sure, but this is a major studio record. Like, it's not 12 Bar Bruce, which was a major studio record. Yeah, I'm hearing myself. It's not like it's Eyes Like the Sky, which was rightfully shoved into its own corner.
You like Eyes Like the Sky.
Yes, but it was rightfully shoved into its own corner.
I am sure we will find it eventually. And I think that the process of going to all these record stores and looking for them has been a delight. And so one day we will stumble on it and we will be happy.
Or we'll buy it from one of you at Field of Vision 2. But we really want the version with the paper sleeve, so don't bother bringing one to our tent without
it. Jesus Christ. This show is already off the rails.
Why would it not be? We have to talk about 2 nothing burgers.
Hey, there's something burgers.
I really liked that Quarantine and Amnesis both kind of had a through line of being like light and glassy. Like there's this like, I don't know if it's the glass marimba or not, but there's a really glassy, bright tone that they're using in both of those songs, which I really like, and I would like to see them explore more of.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't have anything to say about them.
Yeah, I think that with Anamnesis, between the twinkly bits that kind of sound like a music box and the particular sound of the lead synth, it felt like they were going for the score of like a space documentary.
Which is cool. Stu, go score a space documentary. I would listen to that.
Right. Absolutely. And I kind of liked in the movie when Anamnesis was the score, we got like, if you've ever watched NFL Red Zone, the Octobox.
Yeah.
Where we had, and I think what they were going for is like the way that on film, the what are they called? The sprockets on the edge of a film strip. Because there were 2 rows of 4 like little scenes.
Yes.
And we just sort of saw them enjoying their time on tour, like seeing the Eiffel Tower and skateboarding and kicking around soccer balls or eating, just like being tourists.
There's this shot of Olympia Hall in France where it has these giant letters on the front of the building that spell out King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They're clearly physical letters that were placed there one by one. And I love that so much. It's not like one of those signs that you see on like a theater marquee, but like it's these big chunky red letters. And I just love that so much. And all I can think about is how expensive it must be to change that over for every artist that comes through.
And like, I like seeing these scenes from the tour. I like in Quarantine seeing Jason Galea sorting and signing posters.
Sure.
And apparently this is the origin of the special limited edition posters.
Oh, is it?
That are now a staple of the band.
This is the origin.
I don't know if when I read that it meant that specific Nottingham show was the first time that it ever happened, or because people saw Chunky Shrapnel and liked the posters that, like, I don't know exactly what that means. That
Sure.
it was the origin, but something about it, I guess, was the origin of this. I wasn't able to find more details. And I enjoy seeing them as tourists. And I enjoy seeing the behind the scenes stuff, but it also just wasn't enough of a documentary to be a documentary.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment.
But I do enjoy sitting there next to you, Noel, as you're telling me exactly which soundboards are being used.
Yeah, so for the monitor mixes, they were using a Digico SD9, which is a fine console. It's a great console. I've never worked on that one specifically, but what I have used is the Digico SD10, which is what they're running for front of house.
Oh, way to brag that you're using a better console than they are.
No, I'm using the same console they are. I'm using a better console than their monitor engineer is using, which is fine because it would be overkill to have an SD10 there.
Okay. And you know me, I enjoyed geoguessing the different parts of Europe that they were in anytime we had a shot outside of the streets. I enjoy that. I don't know. I could talk about each individual track on the album.
I want to point out one that I think is really funny.
Yeah.
Venusian 2.
Yeah.
When they're playing that live on stage, like, you see everyone like really playing this big heavy song, and then there's Ambi with the shaker.
Yeah. It's really funny. A lot of these songs, Ambi's part is really pretty minimal,
but it's so much fun to watch what he does with that anyway.
Yeah.
It's joyous. And then, like, immediately after Venusian 2, they switch to Bitter Boogie. So you get to see him go from I'm the shaker guy to I'm going to fucking destroy your entire show.
And I still like seeing the audiences. There is a moment in Hell where you see a guy who's on the rail who is clearly having like a
You mean at the barricade?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess on the rail is probably a reasonable way to say it. I just never hear it said that way.
I've absolutely seen it said that way.
Okay.
There's a guy on the barricade who is clearly having a religious experience listening to the band play Hell. And like, I fucking get it. Yeah. I would too.
Yeah.
So it
is funny to have a religious experience to Hell.
Yeah. I do love seeing the audience for all of this. I love watching this band's live shows.
That's where I fall apart as a concert photographer, is I never think to turn around and actually get the fucking audience.
Well, now you know.
Now I know. You got to get the whole show.
It's I think they do a really good job of keeping the quality of the audio really high.
Yes.
I think that's a hard task.
The whole movie sounds great.
It does. There are a couple
and I have this issue all the time, even on the studio version, the fucking drums from Rat's Nest need a little bit more pronouncement in the kick drum. Like, it's played with such a soft beater that it kind of turns a little bit mushy, and I wish it were just a little snappier.
And I think there are a couple of songs where the vocals got kind of echoey and hard to interpret, and that just happens in live recordings.
Especially in Giz live recordings, because they drown that vocal in effects.
Especially for the metal songs, that happens.
Yep.
But I'll say this. The Horology Suite had some of the crispest audio that we've ever heard.
Yeah, it was mixed so well. I love that Horology Suite.
So, do you have anything more for Chunky Shrapnel?
I certainly could if we wanted to, but no, not really. I noticed, like, during Planet B, there's a pit that is almost the size of the room that it's in.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It is one of the most massive pits I've ever seen. And all I want to do during that scene is overlay it with scents.
Just, I want to show people the band with a song from Paper Mache and just go, you should see the pits for this band.
Oh, and of course, during Murder of the Universe, I did point at the screen and go, ah, when they said the words chunky shrapnel.
Jesus Christ.
Because fucking course
I think it's silly to chant for an encore for a band that famously never does encores.
I thought that was weird. I was like, are they just doing encores this whole time and I've never known about it?
No, they don't do encores.
I don't, yeah. I also wanted to talk about there's footage of fans getting patted down by security, and I don't know why you would include that.
Yeah, is that a good look?
Why would you want to include your fans being patted down by security? Probably not something that they wanted in the first place. Like, I get patted down by security a lot, and I don't enjoy it, and I would not want that on film. I wear a metal collar that I can't just take off. It requires an Allen key to take it off. And so I will forget and I'll leave it on when I go to shows, and then I'll get to the shows and I'll walk through the metal detector and it'll go, not today, buddy. And then I'll explain to security, hey, I can't take this thing off. And so they always end up patting me down, and I fucking hate it. It's the worst. So if you're thinking about getting a metal collar,
bring the Allen key to shows.
Bring the Allen key to shows. Or just
leave it at home.
Leave it at home. But, like, I don't know.
That defeats the purpose.
Taking off the collar feels bad, too.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose.
It's a no-win situation.
Works for me.
Honestly, I could win the situation, which is just become staff at the venue and then not have to do the whole security rigmarole, which only works at certain venues.
So,
demos?
Yeah, demos. Listen to Chunky Shrapnel, especially watch Chunky Shrapnel. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely worth it. But it's not Stop Making Sense. It's not The Last Waltz.
I guess it's time to ask the crucial question. When you go on Letterboxd and you log this movie, how many stars are you giving it?
I mean, I love the band, so 4.5. And that's absolutely a biased rating.
It's clearly a biased rating. I think if I'm being honest, it's a 3.
Sure, but I'm okay with being biased.
I want to be honest, but I feel like people are going to massacre me if I say three stars out of 5. Like,
that's okay. That's probably the right call, but I love the music, and so 4.5.
I fucking guess.
I'm biased. I'm a Giz fan.
I guess.
I know that I started out this entire fucking podcast project trying to be objective, but fuck that shit. No, I like the band.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm a fan now.
You've fully drank the Kool-Aid.
It is kind of interesting that there's really nothing microtonal on Chunky Shrapnel.
There's that little bit of rattlesnake
in Planet Earth, but there's nothing really microtonal.
No, not really.
And that feels like a weird omission from a band that has made microtonal music a part of their identity.
They were saving up for what we're about to get into.
For KG and LW?
For KG and LW.
But, clearly everybody loves Rattlesnake.
Everybody loves Rattlesnake.
And I know that on the 2019 tour, they would generally do a full section of microtonal songs all in a row, that they would generally start with a metal song or two and play some more rock music on the normal guitars. Then they would switch to the banana and the microtonal instruments for the middle, and they would go back to the Flying V and the Explorer for the end.
Right.
And so it was kind of weird that, having heard these other live albums, in Asheville and in Paris and in London and in Brussels, that we know had all of these microtonal songs, that none of that shows up on Chunky.
I think that this movie was specifically made for Rat's Nest fans.
Yeah.
I think that this movie knew that there were people who were tuning in for the first time because of Rat's Nest. And they said, these are the people we're going to get our teeth sunk into, and we're not going to show them the microtonal stuff at this moment because maybe that's a bridge too far to cross for someone who's just found us because of this specific thing.
Yeah, but the only Rat's Nest songs you get in full are Planet B and Hell.
But you get Self-Immolate twice.
You get bits of Self-Immolate, and the Road Train performance is much heavier than it is.
It's a very
Rat's
Nest Road Train.
But it's a very jammy performance of most of the songs.
That's
right?
so fair.
The River, obviously, Brief History of Planet Earth. So, yeah, I don't know. It feels a little weird to leave out, like, what I would say is at this point in the band's touring process, like a third of what they're doing.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is weird that that's not in there. I would love to know their actual reasoning, but all I can do is speculate.
All right. Demos.
Volume 1.
Yeah, Demos Volume 1, Music to Kill Bad People 2. So if you haven't killed a bad person yet, we told you, stop listening, go do it, and then come back.
Yeah, like, find... I shouldn't name anybody specific. That's
You really shouldn't, because if they get got, we don't want that coming back to us. Kill an unspecified bad person.
Yeah, specifically, if you can get them, try for like a transphobe or a Nazi or like someone who's like bad, and not somebody who's just like made a mistake or done something that they shouldn't have and like regrets it. Like really try and dial
a bad person.
Yeah.
So these Demos records, these are pretty cool artifacts.
The Demos records, I think, are more interesting to me than Chunky Shrapnel was, because at least the Demos records are showing us a process.
Yeah, and we get an interesting mix of demos for things that we've heard on studio albums.
Yes.
Demos that are clearly unfinished that have never been turned into a final product, that were just scrapped.
Which are some of my favorites.
Some really interesting stuff there. Some stuff that I can see why it was scrapped and never made it very far. Some stuff that I think, it would be kind of cool to see what they would have done with this.
Yeah.
A finished version of this, or things that I want to hear more of these sounds, and I hope that they've used similar sorts of approaches on later stuff that we will get to, even if this particular demo stays unused.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to hear them do something with Honey.
Boo.
It's a shame it'll never happen.
Yeah, so it is something that's worth calling out here. Both Volume 1 and Volume 2 have demos from the album KG, which we have not heard yet.
Correct.
Because Demos Volume 1 and Volume 2 came out before KG, so you could have listened to Automation and Honey and Straws in the Wind as demos before it would have been possible to hear them as finished products.
And I suspect many of you did exactly that.
And that's what we did. So I know, because I've read about it, that Automation is very different from what ends up on KG, and that the other two are at least somewhat more similar, although with Straws in the Wind being very cut down on...
Yeah, because Straws in the Wind isn't like a 10-minute track on KG.
Right, compared to the 11-minute demo that we got. But yeah, we won't be able to compare those ones to the final versions until our next episode when we cover KG.
Yeah. So let's start with Music to Kill Bad People 2, which opens with drums.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels industrial, like there's like kind of the vibes of like pipes clanging together, and it's just like kind of noisy and like industrial as in like space, not industrial as in heavy metal.
Yeah, and there's a lot of synths. It's very atmospheric.
The Mellotron reminds me of Motu.
I really love the synth bass on this one.
Ooh.
It's got such a great tone. And there's parts of the song that to me sound like frogs croaking.
Yeah, I made note of that.
And it's a neat effect. I don't really know what else you could do with that.
There is a very famous synth, I don't remember which one it is, that has a patch called Frogs.
It sounds like that?
That I believe is what they use.
Okay.
Where everyone has always famously said, I don't know what you would use this for. And then there are like 2 examples ever of somebody using it really successfully.
Yeah, because it's a cool sound, and I like it in this track. I just don't know what else you would do with it.
Right.
And I would love to hear more songs like Music to Kill Bad People too. I hope that some of their later synthy work has some of these traits.
What I wrote down about it was that it felt like background music giz again, like similar to what we were hearing on Chunky Shrapnel, where
Right.
we had some background music giz. This also feels like background music giz, but also it's really good pre-show music.
Yeah,
And it stands on its own, and I think
that's the thing is I think it stands Music to Kill Bad People 2 stands on its own better than Anamnesis or Quarantine do.
oh, hard agree.
The only real complaint I have with Music to Kill Bad People 2, I want just a touch more of a low pass filter to shape that lead. It was a very aggressive sawtooth.
Yes.
And especially when it was a little bit higher, it was just, there was a little bit on the
Shrill.
high end that was just a little bit grating, a little bit annoying. And so I would have loved just a little bit more production on that lead line.
So the big thing that stood out for me from this track is that it's very electronic.
Yeah, and there's
Except for the drums, which keep it very organic.
which is weird because on so many of these demos,
It's the other way around.
it's the exact other way around. We have a lot of these demos have drum machine
Yeah.
and then normal guitar on top of it.
Yeah. I think that Music to Kill Bad People 2 is a really good proof of concept, and I want to hear the record that it becomes.
Yes. And if that's what Silver Cord ends up being, I will be very happy.
Or Butterfly or whatever, like anything that plays more with these electronic ideas that we're clearly seeing get developed. I want to see the final product of, because they're clearly cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, Music to Kill Bad People 2, thumbs up. Absolutely.
They're clearly cooking, and I want to eat. Baby hungry.
Well, you don't get bananas for another several tracks.
No, but we do get an instrumental demo.
So, Evil Death Roll, one of our favorite tracks from Nonagon.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, this is the first time we've heard a demo of a song that we know. And we don't have any lyrics. It's very much not fully produced. It's still very recognizable.
It's still very recognizable. There's this really cool, like, atonal, screechy lead guitar solo at the beginning of it, which is a delight to hear.
Yeah, the core components, right? The melody, the riffs, they're all still there.
Yeah.
But in the Nonagon version of Evil Death Roll, there's a section of the song where they play Invisible Face.
Right.
Or they quote from Invisible Face. And that doesn't exist here.
No.
But they do go into a different section in the middle, a B section.
Right. But they also don't play the Nonagon Infinity section.
And they don't
or the Robot Stop section.
Right. But when they break into a B section in the demo, they're playing Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. At least they're jamming on it, right? They quote it a little bit. I'm not sure if it's literally note for note Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer. It definitely has the quarters sound.
Oh, yeah,
But-
it's definitely quarters.
But yeah, there are moments which are at least note for note from Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer.
That's amazing.
And then it starts to accelerate in this B section faster and faster and faster and faster until you suddenly wind up back into Evil Death
Yeah, it's
Roll.
fast, and then there's a sharp hit where you can see Stu hitting the pedal on his board right as it goes back into Nonagon.
It is really hard to imagine how a finished example of Nonagon Infinity would have been able to keep a sort of jazzier quarters-like section.
Yeah.
It makes sense why they scrapped that and replaced it with Invisible Face. It's clear that, you know, especially since they were playing Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer, that this was always a placeholder for another section. It wasn't intended to be a finished product at any point with Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer.
Interesting.
At least I don't think that they were ever intending that section to be literally what would end up in the final version.
I mean, I think...
It's possible they were still going for a jazzier vibe.
Yeah. But I think they already proved that they are willing to go backwards, even in final versions, when you've got, like, Robot Stop Hot Water.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's pretty clear that that was a placeholder of sorts. I'm guessing that what is happening there is that Invisible Face wasn't written yet, or they didn't have a clear sense of exactly how everything on Nonagon would fit together.
Yeah.
And they knew they wanted to break up Evil Death Roll with a different section that changes things up. And they were experimenting with different sounds, and quarters was certainly something that they could do.
Yeah.
But I just kind of doubt that they were going to literally quote Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer the way that the demo does.
Sure, I guess that's fair. I love the contrast it provides, though. The contrast is so sick.
It's really interesting. I like it. I think it works better with Invisible Face.
Yeah.
And Invisible Face is still a contrast, and it's kind of hard to remember that because we know the final version of Evil Death Roll so well.
And it just feels natural at this point. Like,
right.
I can't listen to it with fresh ears and go, oh, that is interesting. It's just not there anymore for me.
Right, but it is different. It is a B section for sure.
Yeah.
Dirt.
Dirt was originally written during Mindfuzz era, and I think that's important to keep in mind while listening to the demo.
Yeah, especially because it is notably an electronic song. Like, we don't have acoustic instruments.
Yeah.
It's played with electric guitar, and it's slow.
It is much slower. I don't think that's a bad thing, but it is much like vibier and druggier.
It's way trippier. Yeah.
It's wobblier.
Yeah. And this is true for the other paper mache songs that we get on these two demo records.
And even on Chunky Shrapnel when they play Sense. Like, that's played electric.
Yeah, it's played electric, but it's not that slow and trippy.
No, that's true.
And on these demos records, everything from paper mache is played electric, slow, and trippy. And when I say slow, I mean slow.
Yeah, they drug these songs out, and I do think it works. I'm glad it's not the final version.
I don't like it. I honestly, I love Dirt. I think Dirt is a great song. It's a song that spoke to me the instant I first heard it.
Sure.
And I don't think that the demos versions hit.
I'm just saying, like, if Dirt demo comes on shuffle, I'm not throwing it out of bed. Like, I think that the Dirt demo
what would you
holds
throw
up.
out of bed?
I would redacted. I think that Dirt demo is actually really fun. I think the harmonies on it, the vocal harmonies, are really fun, and I love how present they are in the mix, which
Fun fact, that redaction was added in the edit, and in fact, Noel did say who exactly among our closest friends that he would kick out of bed.
Yeah, because I'm that dedicated to editing. Like, I'm not trying to desperately get every edit out as quickly as possible with no changes whatsoever.
Yeah, and because it's possible for me to have also said all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely riffed on that in the way that you would if it had been a real edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we nailed that. Good job.
I'm so bad at podcasting.
I have one thing to say to that. Bit.
Hey, you got the number of bits correct.
I liked this.
Yeah, 7 bits was good.
Is that what we're calling it? 7 bits?
I mean, we can also call it bit.
I like that better. I think it's more fun. It's like that band Pigs.
Or the like 18th century English racehorse, Potatoes. There was an English racehorse in the 18th century whose name was P-O-T-O-O-O-O-O-O-O. It was P-O-T followed by 8 O's.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
That's like oh my god.
People were making jokes like that in the 1700s.
Yeah, because people have always been funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you don't need transphobia to be funny. You can just put 8 O's at the end of a word. Ricky Gervais, learn some fucking lessons. You're canceled. Is that too far for me to go? Should I not be canceling Ricky Gervais on the pod?
Who do you think is going to stop you?
That's so true. Certainly not the comedy police.
Certainly not me. So bit is very electronic. It's honestly one of the most like electronic music sounding things we've ever heard from them at this point.
It's got a really solid bass line, but it's a synth bass. It has kind of like a little bit of a flow between notes. What's that called?
Portamento,
yeah. It's got a portamento thing going with the synth bass, which is really fun.
Yeah, it's kind of funky drums and bass. There are just a ton of filter sweeps and panning sweeps.
Sure, yeah. And that's something that we haven't seen them explore super heavily yet.
Right, especially like we've seen them mess around with panning a ton.
Oh yeah.
We really haven't seen them messing around with filter sweeps or anything like that. And so that's a really interesting sound. It's very recognizable, and it's not at all part of their MO that we've heard so far.
Yeah.
There's also some really fun harmonica. And yet again, I am continually surprised by the kinds of cool things that they can do with harmonica and the ways that they can make harmonica sound natural in music that really ought not to have harmonica.
Yeah, because this is definitely like, I don't want to put it in quotes. I want to actually just say it. This is genuinely electronic music, but with organic elements, and the organic elements ground it so much that you almost forget you're listening to electronic music at moments.
Yeah, I know that I've heard that the harmonica is used less and less over the course of the band's career.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of worried that we're going to lose some of that when we get to Butterfly 3000 or the Silver Chord or any of the, I'm always worried that the next album I hear, there will be no harmonica.
I think that we are pretty safe on harmonica up through Changes. I'm going off of nothing here, but I think Changes is going to be a pretty good harmonica record.
I hope so. I hope we keep the harmonica around because I fucking love it and it sounds so good, and nobody seems to be doing a better job of putting harmonica in places where it doesn't belong and making it sound awesome than Ambi Kenny Smith.
Yeah, like the harmonica in Self-Immolate, delicious.
It's in Perihelion.
Perihelion. I know my songs. I don't.
So yeah, 7 bits, good shit.
7 bits, good shit. Sketches of Brunswick East demo, however.
Okay. On the original album,
Yes,
which I guess came after the demo, by definition,
by definition.
Sketches of Brunswick East is split up into 3 very similar tracks.
And they are... I'm not going to ask you to list off what they're called.
Sketches of Brunswick East 1, Sketches of Brunswick East 2, and Sketches of Brunswick East 4.
Huh?
That's what they're called.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Not 3?
No, 4.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm doing a bit.
Okay.
Noel was actually convinced that I wasn't joking.
I have been gaslit so many times in my life that I'm just used to it now. I accept it. That's how life is going.
No, of course it's 1, 2, and 3.
I trust, but I verify.
Noel was turning to double check. Noel was going to the computer.
I was popping open Apple Music to double check.
No, I was messing with you, bitch.
Okay.
This is a much longer song than any one of those 3 versions.
I feel very discombobulated from that.
Good. Then it worked.
But no, it's a longer song. It's definitely still Sketches. It still sounds like Sketches.
Yeah, I think it's closest to Sketches 1, but they're all pretty similar. I would say that, honestly, there are things I like better and there are things I like worse about the demo than I like about what was on the album.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as full of a sound. It doesn't have like the really round bass tone from the album version.
I made note of that too. I said it wasn't nearly as present or boomy.
Right. But also I like that it's longer. It explores and evolves on ideas more than I think that the version that made it to the album does.
See, I was going to say I think it's most like Sketches 2.
Okay.
In that it is overlong.
It is, I think, a little bit overlong. What I would rather have seen on the album, I think, is a longer version than maybe any of the ones from the album, that it does do more of that exploration.
Yeah.
But only one version of it.
Sure, yeah. I don't know. I think 2 versions to bookend the record is fine.
Sure, but we don't need the 3. And like the variations on the original just weren't variable enough to be interesting. And so I like that this one explored. I don't know that we need as much of it as we get here, and I would have really liked to have had that round bass tone from the studio album. But I keep wanting to say the studio version, but these are demos. They're all studio versions.
Sure, no, like
the final version.
The final version.
And I don't know. It's a weird one because I don't think I like the final version enough to be able to say, oh no, it clearly improved from the demo.
I mean, it did. Like, tonally, it definitely did.
Tonally it did, but then it also cut out any sort of like interesting evolution.
Yeah. That's about all I have to say about sketches.
Demo number 79.
Okay, so this is where things get really interesting as we start to get these demos that are unnamed. It's just a number, and we don't really know what it was made for or why it was made or where it was going. We just have this fragment, and we're told to interpret it as we will.
So demo number 79, it's fast, it's really funky.
That was the first word I wrote down.
Funky?
Yeah.
I use the word funky so many times in my notes for the demos. There's a lot of funkiness going on there. I like, are we going to get at some point just like a pure-blooded funk album from these guys?
That would not surprise me.
I
even
would
for a
love
moment.
that. Like, that would be so good.
It's worth noting that this is a Joey and Stu song.
Yeah. And
it's
I'm pretty
instrumental.
sure that this awesome, really jumpy, fast, funky, fun bass part is Joey's doing.
Sure, yeah.
That's my guess here. It would be impossible for me to play, even though I would love to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It is so fucking cool.
It has this like big guitar trading off with the synth thing that's really
goes through a
fast and
couple
going
of-
2back and forth.
It goes through a couple of sections. One
It
of them
feels
is
very
driven
gospel-y to me.
Yeah, one of them is driven by one of these sections is driven by guitar, and one of them is driven by a synth organ, which is
Yep.
that gospel-y thing that you were talking about.
Yep.
And it fucking works. And I would love, this is one of those that I would love to see like what they wanted this to turn into.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely doesn't feel complete.
No, there's also just like a ton of blast beats
Sure.
in the drums, and there's just a shit ton of vibra-slap.
There's so much vibra-slap.
Especially at the end, like it just ends in a cacophony of vibra-slap.
Well, it ends with a synth and organ line that, this is going to date me, makes me think of the Munsters.
That doesn't date you.
It predates
was
me.
predating you.
Yeah,
yes.
it predates me. But like, I definitely thought about the Munsters when that synth and organ line came at the very end.
Sure.
It's so good. It's so tasty. It's so satisfying. And I at least don't hear a lot of that in the music that I'm casually listening to on my day-to-day.
Sure. Yeah, I like demo number 79. I have no idea what they were aiming for. It's
No
so
clue.
incomplete, but there's some really cool ideas there.
There is a section that goes into like prog rock territory where it's like, oh, maybe this is slightly poly adjacent, but it gets out of that so quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just playing around with ideas.
Yeah.
And
That's something we see all throughout this record is the idea of just them sitting down and playing with ideas and seeing where the idea goes while recording it. So there's a lot of like improvisation and jamming where it's like, oh, you're clearly mining for something here and you don't know what you're mining for.
right. It's I think a cool way of doing music. I'm glad we got these artifacts.
Yeah.
But I am itching to find out what was going on in their minds, like what they were trying to do,
Yeah.
what the vision was. But we do know what the vision was for the next song.
Yeah. There is one Planet B. Let's talk about Planet B demo.
Yeah.
It starts out with synth drums with the most hollow sounding kick I have ever heard in my life.
Yeah, no, this is very clearly a drum machine. It stands out in the mix so much. It is
The
not
thing
good.
you hear.
It is the thing you hear, and it is not good.
Yeah.
It is, especially the bass drum is worse, but like all of the drums are worse.
And the mix is non-existent.
Yeah. You can barely hear anything over the drum machine. The entire thing is slower
Yep.
than we're used to from Planet B.
Which makes sense because I can't imagine you write that song at full tempo.
Sure. It is very, very challenging to make out the vocals,
Yes,
but
it
it is
is.
clear that they are different because the one thing that you hear most in the vocal and the lyric is there is one Planet B.
So clearly they already had Venusian in mind. They just didn't know where they were going
Or
to
is
get
Planet
there.
B Mars?
Or is Planet B Mars?
So did they have Mars for the Rich in mind? Did they have Venusian in mind? Is it clear that they knew what the storyline of the album was? I don't know. There's a lot of interesting lore there that I would kind of like to know. Like, what was the order of development for this? I know they've talked about in the past, Planet B was the first song that they were putting together that became Rat's Nest, or at least the first, maybe not the first song they put together, but it's the first one that led them to the idea of we're making a thrash album.
Right, because the goal wasn't thrash, it was just faster, heavier, louder.
Right, because and also later on we get Mars for the Rich, and it's not a thrash song on the demo. So it's very possible that they had Mars for the Rich already, wrote Planet B, thought, oh no, all of this album needs to be thrash, and then remade Mars for the Rich. And so if that's the order of things, maybe Mars at the time was Planet B.
Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe they had started to sketch out the idea for the whole album and they had Venus as the idea. Doesn't really matter. But there is one Planet B is a very, very different sort of like vibe, yeah. Then there is no Planet B.
Yeah, because it speaks to hope instead of desperation.
Exactly. And right, that's what makes the Venusian suite hit so hard, is that
we already know that there's no Planet B.
Right, whether they know it or not, this is a suicide mission.
Right.
And mostly they know it.
Right.
Right? This is a last ditch attempt to survive, and it doesn't go well. So really, really interesting like time capsule here. There's not a lot going on in terms of the actual demo itself to keep the song interesting, even though the core riffs and the rhythms of Planet B are there.
Yeah, it's got classic demoitis where it's got so much that is working and is good, but it feels like it needs to be handed to a producer and have the producer come back and say, okay, here's how to fix it.
Yeah, it's not a good song as a demo.
No.
Part of that is a garbage mix.
A lot of these demos aren't good songs,
right.
Though. Like, I'll hold it for a second. But when we get to the bird song.
Yeah, and they really, really needed to fix those drums. That drum machine was just bad.
Yeah.
All right, bird song.
The bird song. It's very repetitive. They hadn't figured out any production choices at this point. It's so unpolished. But you do get the full song, and you get like the vocals aren't in the demo, but they are replaced with first an electric keyboard and then a guitar.
Yeah.
So you have the melody line in there, which is not something we can say about every demo.
Right. There are, I don't know. What I wrote about this is it works in parts.
Yeah.
Mainly the bass line.
Mm-hmm.
Which is doing a kind of walking thing at parts, which is great.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everything other than the bass stood out to me in a way that I really couldn't put my finger on. I could tell it bothered me. I could tell it irked me, but I couldn't tell if that was because it was bad or merely because it was unfamiliar.
Sure.
But I think it was bad.
I think there's a lot on this record that's bad.
And I like the bird song, the final version. And I really liked that bass line in the demo.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they changed the rest of it.
I'm honestly glad that we're seeing so much from them that's bad on this demo record.
Yeah, it shows that you can start with something bad and make something really good.
It makes me feel better about my own writing, because like I've never taken any of my writing or tracking to a producer and said, here, help me fix this. But this gives me hope that like if I found a producer that I liked and who was good at what they did, I could take something to them and genuinely end up with something that is bigger than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And that's what we see on this record repeatedly is we have so many of the parts in place, but none of them transcend their parts.
Right. And when they get to the final versions, they do.
Yes. And so there's something that happens between production and mixing that...
Well, it's not always that they're starting with production. Some of these they're starting with truly just...
writing?
Demoing, right? These are still just figuring out ideas. And they're just putting ideas on paper.
Right. We see that with Muddy Water, which we get to next. Can I cut ahead to Muddy
Yeah,
Water?
absolutely.
In Muddy Water, it's clearly just, this demo is just a guitar jam with ideas that they later incorporated into a song called Muddy Water.
Right.
Like, this is not a demo of Muddy Water. This is a guitar jam with sections of Muddy Water mixed in that they clearly found later and pulled out and said, okay, this is what came out of that jam that was good.
This is so different from Muddy Water. It doesn't correspond to the melody at all. It doesn't correspond to anything from Muddy Water at all. It's a jam on the very basic idea of the song.
Yeah, this is maybe the loosest demo on here.
And at the end of it, very, very hard to make out. You can kind of hear someone say in the background, "Oh, that was sick."
That's really funny. I didn't notice that.
Which, like, what's clearly happening here, they were just jamming, putting it on tape, because why not? How else are you going to go from jamming to figuring out what you needed to pull from that to make a song, other than let's go back and hear it. We liked that, so let's go get the good ideas.
I just wonder, how much jamming do you have to do to mine those good ideas? Like, when you're at King Gizzard's level, how long are you jamming to get your 5 or 6 good ideas that you can build around?
I think it probably depends. I think sometimes it probably takes them ages, and sometimes it's right away.
Yeah, because that's what I imagine they're doing with Billy. Like, all I can imagine is that they're just sitting down with Billy Strings and going, let's jam for like 10 hours today. And we will pick the best moments of that and try to develop them. Like, that's what I imagine those studio sessions looked like.
Yeah, probably. And I think that's something we see a lot on these demos records, is we see sometimes they're jams. Sometimes they're one guy coming in and saying, I've got the bare bones of a song, and they're recording a bit of that. And that's probably what's happening here with the Bird Song or with Dirt. And they've got, Stu comes in and says, hey, I have something here. They put it down so they have a record of it. And then they just completely change it. Yeah. I don't think all of this is being changed at the production level. I think for some of them it is.
Right. I think we're still for Muddy Water specifically, I think we are still very much in the writing level. Like, we're mid-writing process.
Right.
Whereas Birdsong, I think we were past the writing process and we were solidly into, let's take it to the producer and iron it.
Yeah, I think that there was a little bit more that they added to the Birdsong between where we got this demo and the producer, but they were certainly much further along the process.
Yeah.
All right, Mars for the Rich.
Mars for the Rich was such a weird demo.
It was so incredibly different. There is one riff that appears a few times on the demo that is recognizable as Mars for the Rich, but otherwise it's not even a little bit the same. Even the drums were like more of that motoric beat.
Yeah, it was a lot more nonagon in a lot of ways.
Like Mind Fuzz, a lot more like just sort of that classic Giz sound.
Right. I made the note that it kind of felt like it was being written for Nonagon 2.
Yeah. And the melody is completely different. The instrumentation makes no sense for what we end up with thrash metal. Like, this wasn't always going to be a thrash album. They wasn't a thrash album until Planet B. Which
leads to the question that we've already talked about is, when the fuck did they record this Mars for the Rich demo?
Right. Yeah, right.
Because this doesn't sound like it was written post Planet B. This doesn't sound like it was written after you have the realization we're making a thrash record.
No, it must have been written beforehand.
This feels like we're just going to continue making rock music. And that's what they did. And then there's this weird ass Sketches style electric synth thing in the middle of the track that I cannot figure out why the hell it was in there at all. It's so bizarre. It's just it's an odd demo. And I like it. But it's odd.
It is odd.
It is one of the best curiosities on the record.
Yeah, I think it could have ended up as a Nonagon style track or as a Gumboot track, but it just, as is, would never have made sense as what it became.
No, not at all. You know what would have made sense as it became?
Footy Footy.
Footy Footy. Let's talk about the Footy Footy demo, which...
I didn't know that the original version wasn't a demo.
That's kind of where I landed too.
It's pretty much the same. Like, it's a little bit noisier than the final version.
Yeah, I was gonna say the demo is fuzzier and shoutier, but like
It's pretty much the same.
it's fuzzier and shoutier. So what?
Yeah. It's footy.
It's footy.
That's all I have.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Horn.
All right. So
This is another one of the like untitled original demos that doesn't tie into anything else. It's just a demo on its own right.
Right. The name Stevie Ray Vaughan doesn't seem to have anything to do with
what Stevie Ray Horn is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like a fun homage. It's slow, it's sparse, it's mostly drums for a while until eventually the bass and the synths join.
And when they do come in, it's very spacey and environmental.
Yeah, apparently okay. So these demos were all unveiled for the first time during a live stream.
Which is like when I think of King Gizzard, I don't think of them as we're jumping on Twitch band.
But apparently. And at one point they were interested in doing like a 24/7 radio.
When did this come out?
2020.
So
yeah, this was quarantine and they needed to put something out when they couldn't tour.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
So they were doing this live stream of all of these demos, and apparently in the chat they called it the Stu Lukey Ambi Zach Jam 2018.
Who?
Zach.
Who's Zach?
It's a good question. So there's no direct evidence of which Zach they're talking about, but it's pretty clear we know exactly which Zach it is.
Which Zach is it?
It's probably Zach Olsen from Orb.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Which is one of the guys that we saw jump on stage in A Brief History of Planet Earth from Chunky Shrapnel. We also see him playing like in the green room backstage on a couple of scenes
playing that acoustic
earlier.
guitar, that keyboard.
Exactly. Also in Chunky Shrapnel. Orb toured with the band a lot. Like, they're clearly close as friends and bands. They're part of the same like Melbourne psych rock, garage rock scene.
Yeah.
And so especially with the spelling of the name Zach, Z-A-K.
That is a pretty specific
which
spelling.
Is like Zach Olsen from Orb is not the only person that calls himself that goes by that spelling.
But I would say it's the third most popular way of spelling Zach.
Right. And so, yeah, I feel like it's very unlikely that it's somebody other than Zach Olsen, but we don't have, I think, direct, like,
confirmation,
unassailable confirmation that it is him. But it's probably him.
So I noticed in Stevie Ray Horn that we get a lot of the drums, and the drums are a lot of what we hear, but we mainly just hear the hi-hat and a hot rod on the snare. Like, the kick is really buried, the toms are really buried, but that hi-hat, that's their metronome. That's what's keeping the entire song alive. And I just noticed that instantly. And the hi-hat then gets ducked out the instant that the synth pads come in the back half of the song.
So something that's interesting about that particular list of people, Stu, Lukey, Ambi, Zach.
Yeah.
So Zach is Orb's, if it is the Orb Zach.
Yeah.
He's their songwriter. He's their guitarist. Zach, Lukey, Ambi, and Stu, none of them are drummers?
Correct. We've seen Stu play drums.
Right. I'm sure that
Stu played drums in Chunky Shrapnel.
I'm sure that a couple of them have at least a basic familiarity with drums enough to...
I mean, you'd have to.
...play some drums. But, yeah, none of them are drummers.
Okay. I guess that kind of explains why the drums aren't mixed well, and it's just, like, really hesitant to drumming that's just keeping the beat and acting as a metronome for the most part.
Yeah, and it kind of has me wondering, okay, when they do have these jams, if they don't have an important member of the band to fill out a particular kind of sound or particular part, like, what do they do with that after?
I don't know. Sometimes they just use a drum machine and put out the Planet B demo.
I guess. All right, automation, we're going to have trouble saying anything that's going to, like, make sense for anybody who's listening.
But I have thoughts.
So this one sounds like it's from Rat's Nest. Way more than Mars for the Rich demo, way more than Planet B demo. This one sounds like it belonged on Rat's Nest.
This is a thrash metal song with microtonal guitars. And that's everything I want at this moment in time. Like, I am champing at the bit for more microtones. But also, I really loved Rat's Nest. So to see these two combined, I am so excited for KG because of automation. And then Yael fucking comes in here and ruins it by saying that the final version isn't anything like this song!
Yep.
Fuck!
I am really excited to hear the KG version of this. Apparently, they went into the entire history of automation and how it was made and how they thought about what it would sound like and how to put it together. Not only do we have them talking about it in interviews, and not only do we have a bunch of demos, they also have gone on the Tape Notes podcast.
Ooh.
To talk about...
Wait, they do podcasts?
There's no way, Noel. There's no way, Noel. But they talked apparently about the history of this song, along with If Not Now, Then When, and both KGLW KG and KGLW LW. So songs from the next two albums. So you can bet that we will be listening to that when we do our LW record.
Yeah, for sure. So
excited for that. But yeah, I think that I'm going to have a lot more to say about the automation demo
once we've heard automation.
KG. It's right. This is a thrash metal song that they did not like enough as it is. And my understanding of the story is that Stu didn't like this enough, or the band didn't like this enough. And then when they were jamming something for KG, or when they were writing something for KG that needed lyrics, Stu just sort of put the automation lyrics that had been scrapped for Rat's Nest, that this entire song just never was good enough, and over whatever they were playing for KG. And he's like, oh shit, that actually fits. So, you know, I don't really know what the lyrics are for automation at this point. I wasn't able to like parse them enough on the demos record.
I wasn't even trying to parse them.
So I know it's about AI,
which is something that Stu has famously not been concerned with.
Huh. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, and
then finally from Demos 1,
Fishing for Fishies, Perrin's demo.
So this one, it's instrumental. It's cleaner sounding than the final version.
Yeah, I commented that it kind of feels more like an Eels track.
Sure.
Like it's
you've shown me like two of their songs.
It's got a little bit more space in it. It's very bright. It's good and it's stony. I honestly have only two real problems with the Fishing for Fishies demo.
Go for it.
I wish the bass was a little more forward.
Sure.
Because I think the bass is so important to that song that we need to hear it. And I wish somebody would have given Ambi a mic.
Yeah, so Ambi can be heard singing in the background and later on playing harmonica in the background. You can't really hear either. They're very illegible.
It sounds like the mic track either got muted or he was never given a mic at all.
The bridge section of the song remains fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Having the cleaner version of it, it stands out, I think, even more than it does on the final version, and it's cool as hell.
Yeah.
They cut out the ending bit where it's just, I've let them swim.
Right.
The part that you incorrectly think is very jammy.
Correct. But they did keep some like tremolo strumming at the end, which is really fun and builds nicely.
Yeah. You know, some of these songs, like Fishing for Fishies, seems like it was pretty late in the development of that song, or they just nailed it from early on. And for songs like Fishing for Fishies demo, I feel like there's a lot less to say because it's so close to the final version.
Right. Like, what are we going to say? Oh, no, the song was good again.
The song was good, and they just don't really have the lyrics in there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great podcast y'all got there.
Yeah. And that kind of wraps up Demos Volume 1.
So,
Music to Kill Bad People to.
Let's eat some bananas.
Yeah, it's time for Demos Volume 2, Music to Eat Bananas to. A song that, or a record that I have not eaten any bananas to.
Which is wild because we have bananas in the apartment.
We have bananas. I could have easily done that.
So Music to Eat Bananas 2, it's not quite as good as Music to Kill Bad People 2. It's still good.
I don't
It's not
know
as
if I
good.
agree with that because I don't remember either one thoroughly enough to weigh in on that.
I would say that Music to Eat Bananas 2 is mostly notable for its lead line. It's another synth-driven track, and it's got a very high-pitched, like whistle-sounding
I wish it had been whistling instead.
lead line, and it kind of seems to be trying to draw inspiration from jazz improv.
Jimprov is what we call
Jazz
that.
improvisation, and it climbs so high pitch-wise that it can be challenging to hear at times.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting older. I'm losing some of the top end of my hearing range. This song must suck for dogs. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
It does. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't think that this song sucks. I actually really enjoyed this song, but I don't have much to say about it because I don't think it has much to say.
Yeah, like it just mostly is so high.
Yeah.
There are parts of it that get lower towards the end, but like
I wish it had been actual whistling.
most of it is just this really whistly, high-pitched lead synth line, and that's really all you can focus on because that's kind of what's there.
Yep.
So yeah,
It's fun background music, and that's kind of it.
and I think it's kind of annoying background music. I think this one was kind of a dud. I like music to kill bad people too, but I don't really want to eat bananas to this one.
I don't know. I thought it was really sunny and dreamy. And that's where I want to eat bananas.
Fair. Agree to disagree. The Spider and Me demo.
I just like this song. Like, I think this is a good song. And I don't think that there's much to say about this because they kind of nailed it.
No, I think there's something to say here. So this is an instrumental version, but we do have the melody, the vocal line still present,
Yeah.
but played by a mellotron instead. That's not that interesting. Like, that's kind of neat. What's really cool about this demo is there's a marimba solo that does not exist in the final version. And
I did make note of that.
It fucks.
I did make note of that. The
It's
marimba
so
solo
good.
is very fun.
It's so good, and I kind of wish it was left in. I love the final version of Spider and Me. It's a great track, but that marimba solo fucks.
I don't want the marimba solo in the studio version, but I wouldn't mind if they busted that shit out live.
Yes, I will take that. Bring a marimba on stage. I fucking dare you.
Hey, if I can do it at my job, you can do it at your job. Fucking do the
you heard
shit,
it.
Stu.
You heard it here first. Marimba, Spider and Me, Field of Vision 2.
That will never happen.
No, but please.
That will never happen.
Most of what I like, it's like Dirt. It's very slow. It's very electronic. It's much
very wobbly.
trippier than the final version. It also, like Dirt, isn't quite as good as the faster acoustic version that we got. And it's not like Paper Mache Dream Balloon. It's not like those songs are fast.
Some of them are.
Dirt
But
and
yeah,
most of
no,
I-
like, it's
Dirt
not-
and most of what I like are like
It's not the most up-tempo record.
average tempo. Most of what I like.
Yeah, like that's not booking it.
It's not fucking Allegro.
Sure.
It's not 200 BPM. It's not hell. Like, it's not slow, but it's not fast. It's just
But
sort
the
of
demo,
normal speed. But this demo is so ploddingly slow.
yeah.
And I don't think it works very well. If I had heard Dirt or most of what I like as demos, I'm not even sure I would have known to say to them, hey, speed this up. I think I would have just been like, yeah, these don't work.
So this is why you need a good producer,
And this
not
is why
just
you
any
need
producer.
that's why you need a good producer.
Nine Tet?
Okay. Now you have my attention.
Okay, well, let's start by describing what Nine Tet is. Nine Tet is a microtonal jam.
Yeah, it is just a jam. It is playing in a very different microtonal system than what we've heard from them on Flying Microtonal Banana.
Go off, Queen.
So we've talked about this on our Flying Microtonal Banana episode. So if you want my ridiculous spiel about music theory, go listen to our Flying Microtonal Banana.
Oh, we don't get
Episode.
another one?
No, I would like to, stop recording at some point tonight. I'd like...
We're only an hour and a half in.
Yeah, I know, but we don't need 20 minutes of the same spiel I gave before.
Okay. I just like listening to you talk.
I know, it's so cute. So they normally play their microtonal music with these quarter tones, one note in between every note that you would normally have on a Western instrument.
Yes.
On a piano or on a guitar. Nine-tet takes an octave. If you don't know an octave, it's C to C or A to A. It's the same note. One is higher than the other.
Right.
An octave is the space in between the first two notes of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Somewhere. That's an octave.
Right. And those are both the same note.
Right.
Just one of them is half the speed of the other.
So most Western music is played where you divide that interval into 12 different tones. Each of those tones, or 12 different semitones, each of those is a different note.
Yes.
On Flying Microtonal Banana, they base their music off of a scale that divides that same octave into 24 notes. So twice as many as the standard scale.
So you have these half notes in between, which we call
quarter notes.
tones. Yeah.
Not half notes. Yeah. It is hard to do this sometimes.
Listen,
there are words you have to
terminology.
avoid. There are words you have to avoid, and it's
The terminology wasn't developed to help the beginner. It was developed to be useful for people who need it.
Nine-tet stands for nine-tone equal temperament.
Yes.
And so that's taking that same octave and dividing it not into 12, not into 24, but 9. So each step between notes is larger rather than smaller.
So this is what I heard you jamming on the other day on your laptop.
Yes. So each step is a little bit larger than in the scales that we're normally used to. And so if you look at the Flying Microtonal Banana, the actual guitar that Stu plays, that cannot play the song Nine-tet.
Right.
Just cannot do it.
Right.
You would need to build a new guitar with frets in the right place for Nine-tet. It is...
Which is why it's played on a synth, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Way easier to do this with synths than with physical instruments. Acoustic instruments, electric instruments, just like physical instruments.
Unless you buy that one microtonal guitar with the little snap-in frets.
Oh, yeah. You could probably do it with that. I'm not even 100% sure that you could, because I don't know how that's divided exactly, where you're able to put things. And
Sure.
9 is a weird number.
9 is a weird number.
It doesn't divide nicely. So even among the already kind of unfamiliar sounds of microtonal music, Nine-tet is even more unfamiliar than that. The intervals are just going to sound different.
Yeah.
They're going to sound weirder. And I really like this track. I really like this jam, and I really
Even though it's just like a jam over a drum loop with nothing really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really hope that at some point they explore more non-quarter tone tuning, non-24 tet microtonal music. I don't think they do, because I think that's just so annoying to actually make work.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
I did have to double check to make sure that this song was in fact in 9-tone equal temperament, which is why Noel heard me jamming on my laptop the other day, because I found this really cool web keyboard that allows you to make any microtonal scale you want. And so I put it in 9-tet and played around and tried to match the line that is being played on this jam, and it is in fact 9-tet. I like this. It's cool. I totally understand why they don't do anything with it, but I really kind of wish they would, because I like these exotic sounds, and I like these sounds that are unfamiliar, and I want to hear more of what they can do with these cool other tools that don't normally get used.
Sure. Yeah. What do you say we go on to demo number 6-7?
Fuck off. I don't like this one very much.
It's very airy.
It's not super interesting. We get a lot of vocals.
Yep.
We've got mellotron and electronic woodwind.
I think we have
woodwind.
actual flute at the beginning, and then it turns into electronic flute.
I want an iwi really badly.
An iwi would be so much fun. If you don't know what an iwi is, it's an electronic wind instrument. It's just like this dumb little gadget that, is it Yamaha makes it?
There are a few versions of
There are a
it.
few versions of it. I think Yamaha makes one. It costs like $700, and it's just a cool way to interface with wind instruments and electronics at the same time.
Yeah, it's essentially a MIDI controller, the same as any like electric keyboard.
But you still have to have your embouchure right.
But yeah, but instead of being designed to be played like a keyboard, it's designed to be played like a wind instrument, like a clarinet or a saxophone. And so you can use intonation like you would on a clarinet or a saxophone if you're used to playing those instruments, and you miss some of the expressiveness you can get out of that when you're playing a synth woodwind on a keyboard. You can use an iwi to try to make it feel and express more naturally like an actual woodwind would. It's really cool. I want one. They use one on demo number 67. That's the only interesting thing about demo number 67.
Yeah, I don't really see how this one could easily develop into a full song.
Yeah.
Like, it's got some ideas in it for sure.
I can see why it was something that they, recorded this little bit, see if there was anything they could use. There wasn't.
No.
I can see why.
But it's some fun ideas.
Danger Money.
Once again, I find myself going,
Wasn't this already a demo?
wasn't this already a demo?
There is a major difference.
Yes.
We don't have the harmonica here. We have guitar instead.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original has, or not the original, the studio version. I'm sorry, no. The final version
Yeah, there we go.
has harmonica. That makes it better.
That does make it better. Okay.
Horology.
Ice Ice Baby. It opens with a bass line that the first thing I thought of was Ice Ice Baby. Not Under Pressure. Ice Ice Baby.
Oh, that's worse. Especially now what we know about Vanilla Ice, not only agreeing to play the America 250 shows, but specifically defending his choice to do that by saying, I don't even vote, so it doesn't fucking matter to me.
You're such a
Vanilla
fucking
Ice,
idiot.
you're canceled.
Vanilla Ice, you're so canceled. I can't believe I'm having to cancel somebody from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Actually, that might have been 3. I don't remember. I think it's 3.
I feel like the only thing that's confusing about that is that anybody from that movie remained relevant long enough to be cancelable now.
Oh, come on now. The movie's not that irrelevant. It has Elias Koteas in the lead. Fuck, nope, that's 3. Okay, it wasn't 3. It must have been 2. Yeah, so in number 2, it can't be that irrelevant because it's got not a single writer, director, or actor that I recognize.
Yeah, it's not relevant.
Save for Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, it's not relevant. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, you're correct.
That's right. Always remember, Yael is right.
Cool.
All right.
Movies from 1991, no longer relevant. There's not a single movie from 1991 that is still relevant today. I think that's what we've landed on today. That's the conclusive, definitive solution to this bit, is we have to end it by saying that no movies from 1991 are relevant anymore, because that's the only funny way to go out on this bit. Okay, where were we?
Horology. Weirdly enough, while our acoustic record demos
Were
electric, this one has acoustic guitar.
Which I think works. It's
Yeah.
really ringy and bright, and I like it.
Yeah, it's so like a lot of these demos, instrumental.
Yeah.
It has more synth than the final version, but also it has acoustic guitar, and they work well.
Yeah.
And-
I was expecting demos from Polly to be a little bit of a mess, I'll be honest.
Yeah, a little bit, because it's a complicated record with a lot of stuff going on, but this was...
It's like a Dan Flash's t-shirt.
This was good. The drums are a machine, something kind of like an 808.
Yeah.
The drums themselves, not that interesting.
Yeah, there's synth bass on it, which is fun.
But I like the sound of the acoustic guitar on it. It cuts off really abruptly, though.
Which I like.
Really abruptly.
I love an abrupt stop to a song. I want a song to say, no, we're done now.
Yeah, this one felt like it was in the middle of saying something, though. I don't know. I thought it was too abrupt.
I often cut off when I'm in the...
So in Honey, This is another song from KG that we haven't heard the final version of yet, so we won't really be able to say a ton until
But
our next
apparently,
episode.
it's pretty close to the
Apparently,
final
yeah.
version.
Apparently, this one was pretty close. This one they also talked about on KEXP's Isolated Tracks playlist.
Oh, I'm not very familiar with that.
Yeah, there were not very many episodes of that podcast, but they were one of the early
Do you
guests.
know who hosted that?
I will tell you next show when we actually get to listen to it. I have it pulled up in a tab.
Nice.
I am just waiting till next episode to be able to talk about this. This one kind of is a return to a Flying Like a Tonal Banana sort of sound, but compared to Flying Like a Tonal Banana, it feels more like rock and roll
Sure.
and a little bit more bluesy. Really excited to hear the album version of this one. I really liked the Honey demo.
Yeah, I think this demo is really good. I really like that there's so much tom play, especially towards the end of the song. I think that there's some really interesting choices on the guitars. The way that they play their big vibrato notes, because it's super wide vibrato when they hit their vibrato. And they do that even on notes that are only ringing out as like an eighth note. Like they're doing big, wild, ambitious vibrato, even on their eighth notes.
Yeah.
Which is a wild choice.
It is very, very cool. I like this track. I'm so excited to hear the final version of Honey. And apparently there are a bunch more demos to come for this one on future demos releases.
That'll be cool. I noticed that the guitars at one point get a little bit country.
Yeah, like I said, like there's this sort of older style rock and roll. You know, it plays with the blues more than most of what I'm used to from King Gizzard.
Yeah.
10th Boogie.
The 10th Boogie. Which,
Notably, there are fewer than 10 boogies.
as far as I can count, this is number 5.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know how they get to 10. There are probably more demos that they tried to put together.
There must be more demos. Like, we just got done with Fishing for Fishies. I'm sure they demoed out some boogies for that song, for that album that we never heard.
Yeah, there are some really cool piano lines here. There's some recorder here. I really like this. It's groovy. It would have fit right in on Fishies. I kind of am sad that this one never got developed.
I commented that it feels almost complete. Like, it's missing the vocals. But there's not much else there that needs to be developed before it's a solid demo.
Ambi himself said that he really liked this one and doesn't know why it was cut. And I also don't know why it was cut, because there's some really good groovy stuff here. Really like it. So, I mean, it sounds like Fishies. All right, Let It Bleed.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about this.
It was faster than the final version, very distorted, very lo-fi. The most notable thing about this one to me,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with the demo itself.
Yeah, I know.
So if you go on Apple Music or if you go on YouTube, and I didn't try this out anywhere else, at 1 minute and 21 seconds into the track, all of a sudden, it completely cuts out and is fully silent.
Yes.
No, like, hum of anything, just, like, complete dead air.
Yep.
And so that seemed weird, because just suddenly, all of a sudden, there was nothing. And I thought that, like, my headphones, when I was listening to it the first time, had just died.
Sure.
And so I was really, really struggling to figure out what was going on. I had to go into the bootleg of demos 1 and 2, which is still on the website. You can download all the original files in order to see, like, hey, is this actually just half a song with a bunch of dead air?
No.
And it's not. No. So the official bootleg download has the complete demo. It sounds just fine.
Hey, let this be a reminder. Go to Bandcamp. All the albums are pay what you want. You can get all this shit for free if you want, and you can have the actual files that can't be fucked with by DSPs.
Yeah. So there was something weird about the way that Let It Bleed was uploaded and distributed to, I'm assuming, everywhere, but at the very least Apple Music and YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't check anywhere else either, but
yeah, really weird. If you are going to listen to Demos Volume 2, just be aware of that. And if you're really, really interested in hearing that demo, which there's nothing particularly notable to say about it.
Nope.
But if you really want to hear the full demo, you're going to have to, I think, go and do what I did and torrent the official bootleg.
Yeah, there you go.
Tezata.
Tezuta demo immediately comes out of the gate not really feeling Tezuta-y.
Yeah, this one isn't quite like what it is on Sketches of Brunswick East. This one, again, we have the drum machine, but it's also just dripping with wah.
Yeah, do you know what I said about this song? Do you know what I think this song really embodies? I think it could be the theme song for a cop TV show.
Fascinating.
Like, I think that's the vibe that they settled with here, and I don't like it.
So I kind of understand why it sounds the way it does. So, right, Tezuta was one of their big sort of experimentations with Ethiopian jazz.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funky.
Yeah.
And so this feels like kind of a funky bossa nova sort of vibe.
Okay.
And so I think I see what they're doing here. This version of Tezuta feels more like it's trying to emulate more directly the stuff that they were listening to at the time. And so they were demoing out something that sounded like that. And then it evolved into what we get from Sketches.
They haven't gizzed it up yet.
They haven't gizzed it up yet. Exactly. This sounds very much like okay, we want to make something that sounds like all this cool Ethiopian jazz. So let's do this funky bossa thing.
And it does feel like another one where they're just kind of improvising over a theme, trying to figure out what the song actually is.
Right. And they ended up with a really cool song that fits really well with, you know, what they're doing on Sketches, with parallels with the book and this idea of, you know, this religious figure that's Hantayumi.
Yeah.
And like it all works so well on the album. And this one is one of those moments where I see how they developed that from the early stages, which weren't quite as good. But I you know, they're playing with their influences. Yeah, I appreciate this demo more than I appreciate, say, the Let It Bleed demo.
Yeah, because you get to see a really interesting insight into what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah, I see how it evolved. I see where they started and why they didn't stay there.
Yeah.
This is what I want out of these demos records.
Yes. Do you know what else I want out of these demos records?
Christmas?
Christmas.
You love Christmas.
I love Christmas. I am a noted Christmas enjoyer.
I mean, your name is Noel.
Exactly. And we get King Gizzard's second ever Christmas song.
Scared of Christmas. This is a bouncy electronic instrumental song.
With kind of like a Latin shuffle.
It has nothing to do with Christmas as far as I can tell.
No.
I, too, am scared of Christmas. I don't like Christmas.
Yeah, I'm aware.
It's weird that this has a tropical vibe.
No, I think that makes complete sense.
Because it's scared of Christmas?
Yeah, so you go the polar opposite. Polar, huh?
No, the polar opposite would also be another pole.
I fucking hate you.
I know. Yeah, so people have asked Stu, people have asked the band, are you ever going to make a Christmas album? Stu's response is absolutely the fuck no. He said, I'm sorry, guys, we don't have current plans to make any Christmas album. I hate religion and consumerism. Christmas is the ultimate, like, fusion of those two things, so, you know, unlikely. He said that in an interview with Fantano.
Yeah, and so I never would have heard that quote on my own because it's not fuck Fantano, but it's more like he is irrelevant to my life, and I don't want him to become relevant to my life.
Sure, I read about this interview. I didn't watch the interview.
Sure.
I've seen it show up on my YouTube recommendations because I, you know, see a lot of Giz stuff on YouTube.
Big fucking surprise.
But yeah, they're not going to make a Christmas record. Cav says that he loves Christmas, but would also never make a Christmas album.
I think that's so fair. Although I think a Cavs solo Christmas album could be a really fun curiosity.
Sojourn is so good.
Sojourn is very good.
Scared of Christmas was cut from Sketches of Brunswick East.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is weird because it's a bouncy electronic instrumental. Well, the instrumental fits with Sketches.
It does have the glass marimba.
Yeah. No, that fits.
The glass marimba definitely fits. The glass marimba even gets a solo.
It's true.
Which is very sunny and
bright.
So Christmas. Can we talk about the Sleepwalker demo?
Yeah.
So my full notes for the Sleepwalker demo read, "This sounds a lot like Sleepwalker, LOL."
It's very lo-fi. It's very hard to understand the vocals. There's actually a really cool guitar solo.
Yeah.
And I like it more than the version on Ottomans. But
You
I also
would, because you didn't like how high that version is.
I don't like how high the version on Oddments is, and also I don't like the weird production fuck up in the middle of it.
That's fair.
And even though this was more lo-fi, and even though this was hard to understand the vocals, it didn't have a weird production fuck up that they decided to leave in for some reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was with them when they decided to leave a fucked up production take, but they did. And
yeah,
the Oddments version, not a fan. I'm on the record for saying this. Sleepwalker, much better live. I would have preferred this version.
Yeah.
Straws in the Wind, finally.
It's another demo. It's another demo from, is this one also KG?
This one is also KG.
Which, okay.
It's over 11 minutes long.
It's over 11 minutes long. It's a long song.
Yeah,
and it feels like a long song.
It starts out as this sort of microtonal boogie, which I'm really enjoying, but it just sort of becomes a jam.
It really just becomes a jam.
And at some point, especially because it's the last track on the Demos album, I have a hard time sort of paying attention to what is happening in this jam enough to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I never
By this point,
really
I am fully
that.
clocked out.
Yeah, I never really overcame that. So I am interested because I liked that starting boogie section before it really sort of devolved. And so I'm interested in the shorter version that we will get on KG, the more complete version that we will get on KG. Yeah. There's another one where I will probably have more to say about it once we talk about the final version.
I thought it was interesting.
Really, really shitty way to end the episode with a thing that we can't really say anything about.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting in the song that there are, despite being so long and jammy, there are still some distinct sections and a couple of distinct riffs. And it's cool to see that they've found something that they want to build around, but they don't know what they're building yet. They're just like hoping to find stuff that works with those, including there's this really interesting guitar solo that is maybe the roughest thing I have ever seen them put out. It is sloppy as fuck. It's not played well. And it's clearly them in the room, just whatever comes out is what comes out. And I think that's actually a really good way to end the Demos record, because that seems to be a large part of how they write, is just getting together in the room and seeing what comes out. It's kind of the same way that we make this podcast. Really, if you look into it, Midnights with the Lizard Wizard is in the spirit of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
So true.
I am going to go ahead and pat ourselves on the back for doing this the right way.
All right, so I guess that brings us to the end of the episode. So I will ask you this. What have you been listening to?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Over the past week or two, one of my favorite musicians came out as gay, and the internet's being completely normal about it. But that was Caleb Shomo from Beartooth. He's the frontman of Beartooth. He was in Attack Attack. He's definitely a legend in the like pop metalcore community, or the like uplifting metalcore community. Like, people listen to his music because they want to feel good or they want to get out like angst. And that's really all that there is to Beartooth's music. It's just big, fun metalcore with big riffs that you can sing along to while going, "Oh, my feelings are hurt." It's great stuff. I love it. It's oftentimes corny and cliche, and I'm okay with that. I love every moment of it. I have re-listened to their entire discography over the past 2 weeks, just looking for little references where Caleb is going, "Hey, there's something about myself I can't figure out," so I can point at all of them and go, "You're gay."
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've been listening to. What have you been listening to?
So I went to a show last week. I went to The Last Dinner Party.
Yeah.
And they are awesome. They put on a great show. They do Baroque pop. They're from...
I think calling them Baroque pop kind of misses the fact that they're also just a really big rock band.
Yeah, they are. And they're 5 women from London that play really awesome, very lesbian music.
Some very eggy music.
A little bit of very eggy music, especially on their first album, less so on the second.
Yeah.
But very feminist music as well.
But there's some gender in there.
There's some gender in there. They're fucking awesome. Both of their albums are so good.
Their newest single, Big Dog, is a fucking ripper.
Yeah, cannot wait for album number 3. They rock. And I have been listening to them a lot lately because I was getting psyched up for that show and really loved the show. And so have continued to listen to them.
Yeah, and if the venue had good sound, I'm sure you would have loved the show more.
Yeah, Showbox Soto, what the fuck is up?
You're canceled.
So, listen to The Last Dinner Party. I may have even brought them up in one of these segments before in the early days. It wouldn't surprise me, but you know what? That's what I've been listening to. So
good bands are good.
Yeah, good bands are good. All right. Next time, KG.
Yeah. Come back in 2 weeks and we will listen to Explorations and Microtonal Tuning Volume 2.
That's right.
See ya.
Cheers, y'all.